Overthinking is the prison that too many people choose to stay inside, even when the door has been open the whole time. You sit with your thoughts, replaying the same worries, the same fears, the same what-ifs, until your mind convinces you that movement is dangerous and staying stuck is safe. But the truth is the complete opposite. Staying stuck is the real danger. Wasting your power, shrinking your vision, holding back your gifts. That's the real risk. The moment you stop entertaining every doubt your mind throws at you, that's the moment life starts shifting in your favor. People don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they hesitate. They question themselves until their opportunity passes. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, the perfect plan, and the world keeps moving without them. You can't afford that anymore. Your life is too important. Your vision is too necessary. Every dream you carry requires courage, not overthinking. Action is what separates those who talk from those who transform. You don't need to have the whole picture. You just need to take the first step with faith, discipline, and a decision that you're done letting your mind bully your potential. Power starts with clarity. When you stop feeding confusion and start feeding purpose, you become dangerous in the best way. You walk differently because you know where you're headed. You move with intention because you're not trying to figure out if you're worthy. You already know you are. You stop chasing approval and start building your own lane. You're not controlled by fear, you're guided by vision. That's the difference between someone who's living, someone who's just existing. And once you taste that clarity, once you feel that alignment, there's no going back. The moment you choose yourself, everything changes. You stop overthinking because you finally understand that you're capable of handling whatever comes. You stop doubting because you've survived every storm you thought would break you. You stop hesitating because you realize your future depends on the moves you make today, not the thoughts you dwell on. Power doesn't come from perfection. Power comes from progression, from showing up even when your mind tries to pull you back, from trusting the process even when the path isn't shining. Your life becomes unstoppable when you do. When you decide that you're done letting fear narrate your story, when you stop listening to the noise and start listening to your inner strength, when you stop replaying your past and start rehearsing your future. You were not created to sit in doubt. You were built to rise, to lead, to create, to impact. So step into the version of yourself that doesn't need every answer to make a move, only the courage to begin. The world responds to boldness. Opportunities show up for people who show up for themselves. Today is the day you stop overthinking and start becoming powerful, because everything you want is waiting on the other side of one decision move. Overthinking is one of the most silent killers of potential. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up like a loud enemy. It creeps in quietly, slipping into your mind and convincing you that thinking more will protect you, when in reality it's keeping you small. It feels like preparation, but it's actually paralysis. It feels like planning, but it becomes postponing. You start analyzing every decision, every possibility, every outcome until you've drained the energy you needed to move forward. You end up tired before you even begin, exhausted by battles you fought in your head instead of steps you took in real life. You can lose months, years, even whole seasons to thoughts that never lead to movement. You replay conversations that already happened. You rehearse problems that might never come, and you carry fears that were never yours in the first place. That's how overthinking steals your time. It convinces you that you're being responsible, careful, wise. But the truth is, you're delaying the version of yourself that's waiting to come alive. Every time you hesitate, every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, every time you think yourself out of a decision you know you should make, you're giving away pieces of your destiny. People often believe their dreams are out of reach because life is unfair or resources are limited or timing is bad. But the biggest reason many never rise is because they never take the first step. They drown in their own thoughts. They wait for certainty. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait until they feel no fear. That day never comes. Not because they're incapable, but because overthinking has convinced them that action is dangerous. That's the lie. The truth is, action is the antidote. Action is the medicine. Action is the only thing strong enough to break the chain that overthinking wraps around your ambition. Every powerful person you admire, every leader you respect, every individual who built something meaningful had moments of doubt too. They had fears, they had questions, they had reasons to hesitate. The difference is they moved anyway. They didn't wait for clarity to fall from the sky. They created clarity by stepping forward. Movement produces direction. Motion produces confidence. The more you act, the more you understand what you're capable of. The more you hesitate, the more you amplify your fears. That's why action is everything. When you start taking steps, even small ones, your world begins to shift. Your mind stops spiraling because it's focused. Your energy stops leaking because it has purpose. Your fear loses power because you're proving it wrong with every move you make. Overthinking will always try to predict the future, but action is what creates the future. You weren't designed to just think. You were designed to build, to grow, to evolve, to rise. The moment you move, the universe opens doors that were closed when you were standing still. And here's the truth most people never realize. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You don't become powerful by imagining yourself bold. You become powerful by taking steps even when your mind is shaking. You build courage one decision at a time. You build strength one move at a time. You build your destiny moment by moment by refusing to let overthinking steal it. Your life changes the second you decide that you're done letting your thoughts talk you out of your own greatness. Action is not just movement. It's a declaration. A declaration that you refuse to let fear lead your life. A declaration that you choose progress over perfection. A declaration that you're ready to claim what's already yours. Overthinking steals. Action restores. And once you understand that you become unstoppable, there comes a moment in every person's life when they have to decide what voice they're going to follow, the voice of confusion that keeps you spinning in circles, or the voice of clarity that pushes you toward your purpose, the voice of fear that keeps you small, or the voice of vision that pulls you forward. The difference between people who rise and people who remain stuck is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It's the decision to choose clarity even when confusion is louder. It's the decision to choose purpose even when fear is shaking your bones. Clarity doesn't fall from the sky. It doesn't show up like a neatly written map. Clarity is earned through honesty. You have to be brutally honest with yourself about what you want, what you're avoiding, what's draining you, and what you've been pretending not to see. You can't discover your power while lying to yourself. You can't find direction while entertaining distractions. You can't grow while clinging to old versions of yourself. Clarity begins when you stop hiding from the truth and start facing your own reflection with courage. Confusion loves to keep you busy. It keeps you jumping from idea to idea, plan to plan, dream to dream without ever committing fully. It convinces you that you need more information, more time, more certainty. It fills your mind with noise until you can't hear your own intuition. And that's how confusion steals your power. Not by force, but by distraction. Not by denying you a path, but by giving you too many paths to overwhelm you. When you finally choose clarity, you cut through all that noise. You decide what matters and let go of everything that doesn't. And in that moment, your power starts rising. Purpose is what gives your life direction. It's the reason behind the grind, the meaning behind the struggle, the fuel behind every comeback. People think purpose is some mystical calling whispered by the universe. But most of the time, purpose is a choice. It's the moment you decide to stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. It's the moment you say, this is the life I'm building, and I'm willing to fight for it. Fear will always show up when you chase purpose. It always tries to talk you out of what you're meant for, but fear only wins when you listen. Purpose wins when you move despite it. When you choose purpose over fear, something powerful happens inside you. You stop second guessing every move because you know what direction you're walking in. You stop comparing yourself to others because you finally understand that your path was never meant to be the same as theirs. You stop apologizing for your ambition because you've accepted that you were born to rise, not to shrink. Purpose gives you a backbone. Purpose gives you discipline. Purpose gives you strength on the days when motivation fails. The moment you choose clarity and purpose, your energy shifts. You start attracting different opportunities. You start drawing in better people. You start noticing possibilities that were invisible when your mind was cloudy. You start walking with confidence because you're aligned with something deeper than emotion. You're aligned with direction, and direction creates momentum. This is the moment real power begins, not when everything is perfect, not when all fear disappears, but when you say, I'm choosing my path anyway. Power is not about being fearless. Power is about being committed. Power is about being intentional. Power is about knowing what you want and refusing to let confusion or fear convince you that you can't have it. When you choose clarity over confusion and purpose over fear, you step into a version of yourself that cannot be stopped, a version that doesn't fold, a version that doesn't hesitate, a version that doesn't question its own worth. That version is already inside you, waiting for you to choose it. There is a version of you that exists beyond fear, beyond hesitation, beyond the false stories you've told yourself for years. A version of you that is focused, disciplined, resilient, and powerful. A version of you that isn't weighed down by the doubts that follow you like a shadow. That version is not imaginary. It is not a dream. It is who you were built to be. But you can only become that person when you stop letting doubt speak louder than your destiny. Doubt is one of the greatest thieves of greatness. It shows up in moments when you're ready to level up. It creeps into your mind when you're close to breakthroughs. It whispers questions like, who do you think you are? Are you really capable of this? What if you fail? These questions sound harmless, but they are poison. They make you shrink from opportunities. They make you hide your gifts. They make you settle for less than what you deserve. Over time, doubt becomes the wall that stands between you and the life you're meant to leave. But here's the truth: most people never face doubt. Only has power when you feed it. It grows only when you listen to it. The moment you begin to challenge your doubt, the moment you begin to act in spite of it, its voice weakens. You don't overcome doubt by ignoring it. You overcome it by proving it wrong. Every courageous step you take is a message to yourself that says, I am more capable than I believed. Every effort you make, every risk you take, every commitment you honor becomes evidence that you are not who your doubts say you are. You are stronger, you are wiser, you are rising, your future becomes unstoppable when you start treating yourself like someone who matters, when you start investing in your growth instead of your excuses, when you start building habits that reflect the life you want, not the life you're afraid of. Becoming powerful is not about suddenly waking up with unshakable confidence. It's about choosing every day to show up as the person you want to become, even before you fully believe you are that person. There's a shift that happens inside you when you decide you're done living small. You wake up with more intention. You protect your energy more carefully. You speak to yourself with more respect. You stop running from your potential and start running toward it. You start living with standards. You start making choices that match your future instead of your past. You start realizing that the life you want isn't created through wishful thinking. It's created through disciplined becoming. People think the world changes when they get lucky, but the world changes when you change, when you strengthen your character, when you upgrade your mindset, when you stop entertaining negativity and start investing in your evolution. When you decide that you are worthy of the life you dream about, when you stop apologizing for wanting more and start preparing yourself to receive more, that's when momentum kicks in. That's when opportunity starts meeting preparation. That's when doors open that used to be locked. The person you were built to be is not fragile. That person is not doubtful, not fearful, not easily broken. That person is aligned with purpose, anchored in discipline, and driven by vision. That person knows that pressure binds and challenges build champions. When you step into that identity, you stop viewing obstacles as signs to quit. You start seeing them as signals that you're leveling up. You stop asking, why me? And you start saying, try me. And your future becomes unstoppable the moment you finally understand that your power doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. It comes from choosing growth over comfort. It comes from believing that you are meant for something greater and acting like it every single day. When you stop doubting yourself, you free yourself. And when you free yourself, you rise into the person you were always designed to become, unstoppable, unshakable, undeniable.